Willie Wilson, but he wasn't a very tall man. He was known as Wee Willie Wilson for short. And I loved the sound of that name, Wee Willie Wilson. My first introduction to alliteration. Wee Willie Wilson. It had a great ring to it. I often thought if he were alive today, he could have a great website address. And as for his sister, Dot, we won't talk about her at all. Willie's wife was called Martha Wilson, and she was a kind of a handy woman. She knew what to do when people were coming into the world and when they were leaving. She was a midwife and an undertaker, all in one. Some of you might remember living in communities where that was still the case, that this stuff was handled by locals rather than professionals. Much of this goes on behind closed doors now. You could say in a way that we're cut off from two of the most important moments in life, when we come in and when we leave. There's a great tradition still alive and well in Ireland, if I may use that expression, of wakes, where you send the person on to the next place, mourn their passing and celebrate their life all in one go. And if someone has lived a good long life, a wake can be a joyful enough occasion. People come into the house with sadness on their face, but you know, good times are remembered, stories are told, funny times, and the next thing everybody in the wake house is laughing and smiling till the next few people come in through the door with long faces. The whole thing goes down again and then picks up again. Waves of joy and sorrow all through the night, like life itself. Don't know what it's like around this part of the world. I know people in Ireland who would go out of their way looking for a wake to go to. There's a word in the Portuguese language, especially for people who go to wakes for that kind of thing, for an evening's entertainment. Neighbour of mine never leaves the house without taking his wake coat with him, the big long black one. He's an awful man for going to wakes and funerals. He says if you don't go to other people's wakes, you can't expect them to come to yours. Went into his house one night. He was looking up the obituaries as usual, planning his social evening. He looked up out of the paper and he says, isn't it a strange thing? He says that people always seem to die in alphabetical order. You need a few kind of stock phrases to get you in through the door of a wake house. You'll hear people coming in and saying things like, any word of what he died of. Somebody will say, I'm not too sure, but I think it was something fairly serious. And then you'll get people coming in, and no matter how bad the situation is, they'll say, it could have been worse. No scenario is too bleak for those people. I remember going into a wake house one night. There's a man just ahead of me through the door. He said to the woman whose husband had died, what happened to him anyway? Ah, she says, he was in bed this morning and he took a wee turn in the bed and he died in the bed. No? I says, your man, that's terrible altogether. But it could have been worse. And she says, how do you mean, like? Well, he says, at least he took the turn when he was in the bed. If he had taken it and him coming down the stairs, he could have fallen down and hurt himself. And you get all this stuff floating around the wake house, and the person person who you're sending on to the next place is lying there, for all we know, listening to every word. So what do we know? The Mayan people in Central America believe that when you die, the only way you can get to the next world is across a lake of tears that have been shed by people who genuinely mourn your passing. And they say you cross that lake in a boat made from beautiful songs and stories. And when you think about it, that's what we do when we gather for a wake. We're sending the person on and we're remembering them and telling stories and maybe singing a few songs. I think it's no accident that the word wake also is used to describe the last disappearing signs of a boat in the water. So I wrote this song to celebrate the tradition of wakes. And Ireland, I think, there's a great article in The Guardian about a week ago about wakes and the importance of them. Seeing death has been part of life. So I wrote this song to celebrate it. I sing this song in parts of the world where people have no idea what I'm singing about. But you'll know here. But there's a man who happened to be over from Kent, a particular place where they obviously didn't have wakes, and he found himself at a wake near home that I was at, and he gets a mention in the song. But it's called the Wake Song. It took me ages to think of that name for it. In my sleep about a wake, I'm sorry for your trouble now, says I. I awoke and thought of all the things we say at the place where people come to laugh and cry. He went very sudden in the end, but it's good to see him looking like himself. And he never done nobody no harm, except her critter to himself. Does anybody know what age he was? He was rightly up in years, said Miss McGrath. If he'd lived another fortnight, I would say he'd have lasted 2 weeks longer than me dad. That would leave him round the 90 mark, says I. Says old McCabe, that's not so old at all. Sure, I'm coming up on 95 myself. I wonder what came over him at all. But he went very sudden in the end. But it's good to see him looking like himself. He never done nobody, and he never done nobody no harm, except her critter, except her critter to himself. Far be it from me to be a judge, but I know that I am talking among friends. If you ask me what it was that done the harm, he was trying to burn the candle at both ends. Oh, I didn't like the cut of him last week, not looking like himself at all, I fear. Still, I'm glad to see he's mended well since then. Sure, I haven't seen him look so good in years, but I'm very sudden in the end. It's good to see him looking, but it's good to see him looking like himself. He never done nobody, and he never done nobody no harm, except her. here not knowing what to think, when someone comes and whispers in his ear, the corpse's brother's wondering what you'll drink. I suppose it's time that I was heading on. Make room for these when standing in the hall. Sure, somebody was saying up above, a little while will have to do us all. But he went very soon in the end. It's good to see him looking like himself, and he never done nobody no harm, except her.